an unfinished prototype of the application I'm developing as my bachelor's degree work. The basic idea is simple. There is a set of components where each component has its own function, and user just configures and interconnects them the way he wants. Let's see a basic example. Input data component is used for loading data from external sources. By the way, the data is represented as an array of numbers, and that array represents the actual time series. Graph component is used to visualize the data, and to visualize the data you can just connect to components and launch the scheme. Here is the result. Let's make something more complex and drag two more components. Ideally, you can drag and drop as many components as you want, but for now we are limited with work area size. And here are the results. First file, second file. Actually, two files are basically two parts of one time series, just earlier data points and later data points. And the last thing is actually constructing some forecasting model. Model builder component trains new forecasting model using data provided. So let's feed in some data. For now there is only one model type, and this artificial neural network. There are some parameters like inputs count, activation function, etc. Let's leave them by default for now. To actually make some predictions, we need a predictor component. It takes as inputs a forecasting model and a data that will be used to make predictions, and it outputs actual predictions. Let's plot them on the same graph to see how well did the artificial network perform. And here comes the result. So this is the old graph when we were plotting the input. Let's close it by now. And this graph represents an actual data and the forecast made by the model used by predictor. The forecast starts from this point, since we are using 5 previous points of the data to make a forecast for the new point. As you can see, the model did pretty good. Let's launch application. There is also some basic components. Actually, there are lots of components that can be added. I think you can think on your own. For example, preprocessor component that takes data and transforms it in various ways. For instance, using moving average filter. Let's compare the actual data and the filter data. Let's take, I guess, the whole process, the whole time series. If we launch it, here is the result. As you can see, the data processed by the moving average filter is more smooth. And of course you can save the filter, not from graph component, but from preprocessor component. You can save the smoothed data in any file you want. For example, new data, filter. and you can just keep. And the data was saved, I guess. Let's check it. Yes, new data field.